weekly messages. I'm Jelaila Starr. Today the topic is healing your frozen heart, or finding passion when you've lost all your passion in life. This topic came to me because I had the honor of assisting someone who was struggling with that very problem. And it was sad because he was so young. He was like 25 years old and he already had a frozen heart. And, and had lost all his passion in life. So it's like, wow, I could understand why his God sent him to me. So I thought this was really important because so many people out there are struggling with the same thing. They feel like their heart is frozen because of traumas they've been through, and they've lost all passion, which can create all kinds of anxiety, because if you don't know what you want to do, how are you going to pursue any goals? I mean, you just don't have the desire to create a goal. So this is for you guys. Now, before I begin, let me just say this. Frozen hearts are different than shattered hearts. We'll have to deal with shattered hearts at another time. Frozen hearts occur when you take a risk and you know that the outcome might not be good, and you get the negative outcome, and you keep getting it over and over and over, and every time you get the negative outcome, it is like a frozen brick that's placed in a wall around your heart. Before you know it, it's just, your heart's completely emotionally frozen. So let me just share a little story to kind of explain that. So using the example of this wonderful young man, and we'll call him Sam. Sam, not his real name, came to me. What his situation was, like I said, he not only had a frozen heart, but he had OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And his disorder took the form of excessive cleaning and checking, rechecking everything. It had gotten to the point where he had a really hard time with leaving his home and moving on, because he had just gotten a job. He just completed his degree in graphic arts, and now he just had no desire to even pursue getting a job. So it was really critical. He needed to be able to move on with his life. So when I tuned into his guides, what they showed me immediately, and sometimes this happens, they don't come and talk to me personally as far as show me who they are and what they look like. What they'll do is they'll stand in the background and present a picture to me. And the picture they showed me was a young boy who had a cast on his left leg and was using a crutch, and also had bandages around his head and around his chest, around his heart area. So I knew he had been wounded here and here, and his left leg, which meant his emotions. He was struggling to move forward. So because of an emotional trauma. So the next thing that they showed me was, or that I picked up, is that this had something to do with his spiritual awakening and how he handled that awakening in regards to sharing it with his family. So I asked him, I said, Sam, how did you handle your awakening with your family? And he immediately responded with, well, my mom did not like it all. She pretty much, it was a strong reaction because they were raised very staunch Catholics. So that was totally against, everything that she had been taught. Well, I thought, okay, but, why would this make a big difference? And then I realized that he had a prior contract with her, an inner life contract, before he came into this lifetime with her to help him recreate something that he had brought forward. This frozen heart was something he came into this life with, and he needed to be able to recreate the trauma around it so that he could clear it. And of course, you can't clear something you don't know you have. So his mother, as a soul, agreed to the contract. So I used the second key of compassion, contracts and promises, to be able to explain to him the inner life. And then I went on and used the third key of compassion, and I'm going to continually refer to those because those are the tools I use. They're higher dimensional tools that enable us to work through things. So here's your opportunity to kind of see how three of them work. So the next one I used was the inner child key, which is called divine partnerships. And I said, your OCD and your frozen heart are all related to how you handled your awakening with your family. So let me kind of spell that out for you. I said, when you decided to share this with your family at 16 years old, number one, that's not something that starseeds need to be doing because, first of all, the family didn't ask for that awakening. This is your awakening. It's not theirs. They have their own path. But anyways, I said, when you did, the message that is picked up by the family members is that their beliefs are wrong, and you are here to set them straight. And beliefs, especially religious beliefs, are the foundation of a person's reality. So when you start attacking those beliefs, you attack the very fabric of their reality. And there's nothing that shakes people faster and more deeply than if you start tearing away at the foundation of their world. So I said, your mom reacted as vehemently as she did is because the more persistent you became, and this went on over 3 years, the more persistent you became about your beliefs, the more you were sending her the message that she was wrong and you were basically shaking her foundation. Well, we could go into what the mom went through, and really bottom line is her religion was it was her anchor. And it was the only thing that kept her afloat through all these traumas that she had been through. So here is her beloved son now taking away her life jacket, so to speak. And so, of course, she's going to react vehemently against that. So I said, then let's talk about your inner child. Every time you went after your mom's beliefs, your mom responded with an attack. And your inner child felt that attack because you weren't there to protect him. I said, each time, and I said, and this is very important, it's that it involves the mother versus the father. I said, because here's why. From a primordial sense, the mother gives birth, she gives life, and it is through her milk that she keeps that infant alive. This is before bottle feeding, obviously, but if the mother wasn't there to feed the baby would die. So anytime a mother rejects a child, it goes to a very deep core level. It's basically saying, you can die. The inner child hears that as, mom's rejecting me, I'm going to die. She's going to cut me off. I'm going to die. So every time that attack is felt, the inner child encapsulates that pain and freezes it, so to speak, and then puts it on a shelf. So that shelf begins to build into a wall. Now, how does the OCD, so I said, do you understand that? He goes, totally get that. Because the attacks were pretty vehement. The stronger he pushed, the more he was rejected, the stronger he pushed. The more she was rejected, the stronger she pushed back. So those attacks became pretty heavy. All right, so I said, so how does the OCD play into this? Well, I said, when the child has so many bricks in the wall and he's trying to keep everything medicated, he will turn to behaviors, and these become addictive. They could be, they could be alcohol, they could be drugs, they could be overeating, overworking, anything that is a good distraction that does the job of making certain that you don't feel the pain. And I said, with OCD, it's interesting the two types of OCD that you developed. I said the obsessive cleaning is from your mom saying, basically letting you know that your beliefs are bad, and bad equates to dirty or unclean. They're unclean beliefs. So the inner child thinks, okay, I'm going to clean everything. So I can't stop my dad, meaning Sam. Sam is the parent of his inner child. I can't stop my dad from having these beliefs. He won't get rid of these unclean beliefs, because that's what mom says they are, is they're unclean beliefs. But I'm going to clean everything else perfectly so that there's nothing else that can be rejected. So that one made sense. And then I said the checking and rechecking is every time there's something that happens in your life that can trigger you to remember the pain of your mom, then the child's constantly checking the frozen bricks to make certain that nothing's melting or nothing's falling. So your checking and rechecking is the inner child's way of checking and rechecking all those frozen bricks. and making certain everything stays in place. It's also trying to avoid, that old proverbial saying, the other shoe dropping. So it's a hypervigilance type of OCD. So once I explained these to him, he totally got it. I said, so the bottom line is, you are the one who's in total power here. You've always been. I said, you, with your own power, created this. And now with your own power, you can uncreate it. And I said, so I took him through the formula of compassion, and he began to see his mom from another perspective. And, her losses, his dad died, so there's her financial security, other family members, other traumas in her childhood. So he could see how his changing his beliefs, which was basically the fabric of her foundation, meant that she believed she was going to lose him as well. So it all made sense to him. So I explained, here's where you can go with this. I said, number one, you now know how to release your mom from blame, because you realize that you created the contract. I said, but you're not going to stay in that perspective. And the reason why you're not going to stay in that perspective is because now you've blown a hole in that wall that your inner child built. And now all this stuff is going to have to start coming out, all this pain. And it won't come out all at once. It'll come out in pieces. So it'll feel like you go through waves, and sometimes it'll be anxiety, and sometimes it'll be sadness, and sometimes it'll be, hopelessness, and sometimes it'll be anger, and sometimes it'll be frustration. But as those bricks melt, that stuff has to be cleared. For you, it's developing a relationship with your inner child, parenting him through this, comforting him through this, and letting him know that he's not to blame, that you're right there, you're going to make it okay. And then after each episode, you go back to this higher perspective where you release your mom, because all these things are going to be attached to your mom because of your inner life contract. So he finally got it. He felt better. He felt empowered because he realized he could take total responsibility for this, and therefore he could fix it. So that's it for today. I hope this helps you if you've had a frozen heart. No, it's usually it's usually hits that you take from other people, rejections that you knew were possible when whatever it was you were trying to achieve. Like with Sam trying to get his mom to agree with him, he knew there was a chance that she would not agree and she would reject. And, it just builds up over time. And then what happens is that as the more you medicate, the more frozen you become, the less you are able to feel passion. So passion comes back as each one of these bricks melts and you clear away the pain. So that's it for today. Hope this helps, and let me know if there's anything I can do to assist you. I am still doing counseling, guys. I haven't gone away, and the keys are still available. The emotional clearing workshop still available, and the emotional clearing retreat still available. So have a great week, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.